We're joined on our Newsmaker line by Ohio Senator John Husted. And Senator Husted, you've joined the Keep SNAP Funded Act of 2025. Can you tell our listeners what the gist of that bill is?
Yeah, well, thanks, Larry. The issue is that with the government shutdown, all of these programs are running out of money, SNAP being one of them. SNAP provides food assistance to 1.4 million Ohioans, many of them children, who rely on that program to put food on the table. And that funding's run out because the Democrats will not join us in reopening the government. So I've joined a bill that would fund SNAP, but we have this for all of those different programs that are running out of money. The responsible thing for us to do would be to just vote for a continuing resolution, get 5 more Democrats to join us to do that, to fund all of government so that we can begin serving the American people. But because SNAP specifically affects so many Ohioans, I'm trying to get that funded. But, this has to happen in the next couple of days or the program funding will lapse.
Our listeners are represented by you and Senator Marino, in the House by Congressman Mike Turner, Jim Jordan, Mike Carey, Warren Davidson. So if our listeners voted for you and anyone in that group, or they did not, what can individual constituents do to try to advocate an end to this shutdown?
Well, the Miami Valley is well represented because everyone you just named has voted to keep the government open and to keep all of these programs funded. So that's the good news for Miami Valley listeners. The challenge is you have people like Chuck Schumer, who represent New York, who is a much more different political state than Ohio is, for example, and they're insistent on shutting down the government to oppose President Trump at every turn. It's funny, in this particular issue, they want President just to fund it. They want him to act like a king, even though they just held a rally and said that we don't have any kings. Why do they want him to do that? It's because they want to absolve themselves of the responsibility to take the vote that would open up back government. So if you want to try to do something about it, I guess you're going to have to call some senators in Michigan or New York or places like that, because they're the ones that are the obstructionists. But your Ohio delegation has voted responsibly to keep things open.
Vice President Vance says that the military personnel are going to get their paychecks Friday. How much longer can that be the case if this shutdown keeps going on?
Yeah, I imagine that this is the last time. The money that they're trying to round up, much of it has been privately loaned to the federal government to do this in some cases. So the clock is ticking on this. This is so unnecessary, Larry. We've voted 13 times to keep the government open. Think about the people who come to Congress. They get on airplanes to fly here and come to work. They pass the TSA agents who aren't getting paid. They rely on the air traffic controllers who are not getting paid. They come to the Capitol with the Capitol Police that are not getting paid. They come to their offices, and their staff are not getting paid, yet they will not open the government. That's why I have chosen not to take my pay, because I don't think members of Congress should get paid while the rest of the federal workforce who's coming to work is not. And it's time for this to come to an end. I'm hopeful that the continued, call the blue state senators, because they're the ones that are the ones that are obstructing this.
Well, the frustration in your voice is palpable, but we appreciate you sharing time with our listeners here this morning, as always.
Thanks, Larry.
All right. That's Senator John Husted.